100 Love Sonnets. Number 17 by Pablo Neruda. I don't love you as if you're a rose of salt, topaz, or arrow of carnations that propagate fire. I love you as one loves certain obscure things, secretly between the shadow and the soul. I love you as a plant that doesn't bloom, but carries the light of those flowers hidden within itself. And thanks to your love, the tight aroma that arose from the earth lives dimly in my body. I love you without knowing how, or when, or from where. I love you directly without problems or pride. I love you like this because I don't know any other way to love except in this form in which I am not, nor are you. So close that your hand upon my chest is mine. So close that your eyes close with my dreams.
Truth by Gwendolyn Brooks. And if sun comes, how shall we greet him? Shall we not dread him? Shall we not fear him after so lengthy a session with shade? Though we have wept for him, though we have prayed all through the night years, what if we wake one shimmering morning to hear the fierce hammering of his firm knuckles hard on the door? Shall we not shudder? Shall we not flee into the shelter, the dear, thick shelter of the familiar, propitious haze? Sweet is it to sleep in the coolness of snug unawareness. The dark hangs heavily over the eyes.
A Fixed Idea by Amy Lowell. What torture lurks within a single thought when grown too constant? And however kind, however welcome still, the weary mind aches with its presence. Dull remembrance taught remembers on unceasingly. Unsought, the old delight is with us, but to find that all recurring joy is pain refined. Become a habit, and we struggle, caught. You lie upon my heart as on a nest, folded in peace, where you can never know how crushed I am with having you at rest heavy upon my life. I love you so. You bind my freedom from its rightful quest. In mercy, lift your drooping wings and go.
The Tide Rises, the Tide Falls by Henry Wadsworth Longfellow. The tide rises, the tide falls, the twilight darkens, the curlew calls. Along the sea, sands damp and brown, the traveler hastens toward the town. And the tide rises and the tide falls. Darkness settles on roofs and walls. But the sea in the darkness calls. The little waves with their soft white hands efface the footprints in the sands. And the tide rises and the tide falls. The morning breaks, the steeds in their stalls stamp and neigh as the hostler calls. The day returns, but nevermore returns the traveler to the shore. And the tide rises and the tide falls.
Bleeding Heart by Carmen Jimenez Smith. My heart is bleeding. It bleeds upward and fills my mouth up with salt. It bleeds because of a city in ruin, the chair still warm from sister's body, because it will all be irreproducible. My heart bleeds because of baby bear not finding mama bear, and it bleeds to the tips of my fingers like I painted my nails crimson. Sometimes my heart bleeds so much I am a raisin. It bleeds until I am a quivering, ragged clot, bleeds at the ending with the heroine and her sunken cancer eyes, at the ending with the plaintive flute, over smoke-choked killing fields. I'm bleeding a river of blood right now, and it's wearing a culvert in me for the blood. My heart rises up in me, becomes the cork of me, and I choke on it. I am bleeding for you and for me and for the tiny babies in the IED blown leg. It bleeds because I'm made that way, all filled up with blood, my sloppy heart a sponge filled with blood to squeeze onto any circumstance. Because it is mine, it will always bleed. My heart bled today. It bled onto the streets, in the steps of City Hall. It bled in the pizza parlor with the useless jukebox. I've got so much blood to give inside and outside of any milieu. Even for a bad zoning decision, I'll bleed so much, you'll be bleeding. All of us, bleeding in and out like it's breathing or kissing. And because it is righteous and terrible and red.
Sonnet 15 by William Shakespeare. When I consider everything that grows holds imperfection but a little moment, that this huge stage presenteth not, but shows whereon the stars in secret influence comment. When I perceive that men as plants increase, cheered and checked, even by the self-same sky, vaunting their youthful Sabbath, I decrease, and with their brave state out of memory. Then the conceit of this inconstant state sets you most rich in youth before my sight, where wasteful time debated with decay to change your day of youth to sullied night, and all in war with time, for love of you, as he takes from you, I engraft you new.
Candles by Carl Dennis. If on your grandmother's birthday you burn a candle to honor her memory, you might think of burning an extra to honor the memory of someone who never met her, a man who may have come to the town she lived in, looking for work and never found it. Picture him taking a stroll one morning, after a month of grief at the want ads, to refresh himself in the park before moving on. Suppose he notices on the gravel path the shards of a green glass bottle that your grandmother, then still a little girl, will be destined to step on when she wanders barefoot away from her school picnic if he doesn't stoop down and scoop up the mess with the want ad section and carry it to a trash. For you to burn a candle for him, you needn't suppose the cut would be a deep one, just deep enough to keep her at home the night of the hayride, where she meets Helen, who's soon to become her dearest friend, whose brother George, 30 years later, helps your grandfather with a loan so his shoe store doesn't go under in the Great Depression, and his son, your father, is able to stay in school where his love of learning is fanned into flames, a love he labors, later, to kindle in you. How grateful you are for your father's efforts is shown by the candles you burn for him. But today, for a change, why not a candle for the man whose name is unknown to you? Take a moment to wonder whether he died at home with friends and family, or alone on the road, on the lookout for no one to sit at his bedside and hold his hand. The very hand it's time for you to imagine holding. Thank you.
The Nail by C.K. Williams. Some dictator or other had gone into exile, and now reports were coming in about his regime. The usual crimes: torture, false imprisonment, cruelty, and corruption. But then a detail: that the way his henchmen had disposed of his enemies was by hammering nails into their skulls. Horror, then. What mind does after horror, after that first feeling that you'll never catch your breath, Mind imagines how not to be annihilated by it. The preliminary tap feels it in the tendons of the hand, feels what you do with your nail when you're fixing something, making something, shelves, a bed. The first light tap to set the slant, then a slightly harder tap to embed the tip a little more. No more. This should be happening in myth, in stone or in paint, not in reality, not here. It should be an emblem of itself, not itself, something that would mean, not really have to happen, something to go out and expand an implication in that unmoved matter of mass in the breast, as in the image of an anguished face in grief for us, not us as in a myth, a moral tale, a way to tell the truth that grief is limitless, a way to make us understand it is we who do such things, it is we who set the slant, embed the tip, lift the sledge, and drive the nail. Drive the nail, which is the axis upon which turns the brutal human world upon the world.
Ode to the Hotel Near the Children's Hospital by Kevin Young. Praise the restless beds. Praise the beds that do not adjust, that won't lift the head to feed or lower for shots or blood or raise to watch the tinny TV. Praise the hotel TV that won't quit its murmur and holler. Praise the room service that doesn't exist. Just slow delivery to the front desk of cooling pizzas in brown bags. Leaky, greasy, and clear. Praise the vending machines. Praise the change. Praise the hot water and the heat or the loud cold that helps the helpless sleep. Praise the front desk who knows to wake room 120 when the hospital rings. Praise the silent phone. Praise the dark, drawn by thick daytime curtains after long nights of waiting awake. Praise the waiting, and then praise the nothing that's better than bad news. Praise the wake-up call at 6 a.m. Praise the sleeping in. Praise the card hung on the door like a whisper. Lips pressed, silent. Praise the stranger's hands that change the sweat of sheets. Praise the checking out. Praise the going home to beds unmade for days. Beds that won't resurrect or rise, that lie there like a child should. Sleeping. Tubeless. Praise this mess that can be left.
Caged Bird by Maya Angelou. A free bird leaps on the back of the wind and floats downstream till the current ends and dips his wing in the orange sun rays and dares to claim the sky. But a bird that stalks down his narrow cage can seldom see through his bars of rage. His wings are clipped and his feet are tied, so he opens his throat to sing. The caged bird sings with a fearful trill of things unknown but longed for still, and his tune is heard on the distant hill, for the caged bird sings of freedom. A free bird thinks of another breeze, and the trade winds soft through the sighing trees, and the fat worms waiting on a dawn-bright lawn, and he names the sky his own. But a caged bird stands on the grave of dreams. His shadow shouts on a nightmare scream. His wings are clipped, and his feet are tied, so he opens his throat to sing. The caged bird sings with a fearful trill of things unknown but longed for still, and his tune is heard on the distant hill, for the caged bird sings of freedom.
The Affliction of Richard by Robert Bridges. Love not too much, but how? When thou hast made me such, and dost thy gifts bestow, how can I love too much? Though I must fear to lose, and drown my joy in care, with all its thorns I choose the path of love and prayer. Though thou, I know not why, didst kill my childish trust, that breach with toil did I repair, because I must. In spite of frighting schemes which blaspheme thee in my dreams, so far I have hoped well. But what the heavenly key, what marvel in me wrought shall quite exculpate thee? I have no shadow of thought. What am I that complain? The love? My question. Love from which began my question, sad and vain, justifies thee to man.
The Albatross by Kate Bass. When I know you are coming home, I put on this necklace. Glass beads on a silken thread, a blue that used to match my eyes. I like to think I'm remembering you. I like to think you don't forget. The necklace lies heavy on my skin. It clatters when I reach down to lift my screaming child. I swing her, roll her in my arms until she forgets. The beads glitter in the flicker of a TV set as I sit her on my lap and wish away the afternoon. I wait until I hear a gate latch lift, the turn of key and lock. I sit amongst toys and unwashed clothes. I sit, and she fingers the beads until you speak in a voice that no longer seems familiar, only strange. I turn as our child tugs at the string. I hear a snap and a sound like falling rain.
Epilogue by Robert Browning. At the midnight, in the silence of the sleep time, when you set your fancies free, will they pass to where? By death fools think. Imprisoned, lo, he lies who once so loved you, whom you love so. Pity me? Oh, to love so, to be so loved, yet so mistaken. What had I on earth to do with the slothful, with the mawkish, the unmanly? Like the aimless, helpless, hopeless did I drivel, being who? One who never turned his back or marched breast forward, never doubted clouds would break, never dreamed, though right were worsted, wrong would triumph. How'd we fall to rise or baffled to fight? Better, sleep, to wake. No. At noonday in the bustle of man's work time, greet the unseen with a cheer. Bid him forward, breast and back, as either should be. Strive and thrive, cry, speed, fight on, fair ever, there, as here.